From the EPAWA headquarters in South Allentown, Pennsylvania, it's time for Weather Weeklies, an informative video of the ins and outs of weather that affect you most in the EPAWA coverage area. The following segment is a weekly video blog, and the opinions of the forecaster do not necessarily reflect the opinions of the staff of Eastern PA Weather Authority LLC as a whole, nor its constituents. Without further ado, here is meteorologist Bobby Martrus with Weather Weeklies.
Hey, good Sunday morning to you, everybody. We're going to have a good video today talking about the long-range pattern and what we're seeing going forward here that will actually flip us into winter. There's been a big discussion here of when exactly that's going to occur. Those of you that read our winter outlook that we put out, back at the beginning of November, we actually expected November to be cold, and then we're going to go to the first half of November, somewhere around the 15th or maybe somewhere midway through. We weren't sure exactly when, but somewhere around the 15th, switching over to a sustained cold and snowy pattern, and then the first half of the month being on the mild side. So far, it has been kind of hanging right around normal for this, for the first part of December here, but we're going to go above normal for a couple days before we go below. So we'll get into that now. Our long-range pattern here's from meteorologist Mike Davino. Of course, he did this a couple days ago, so these first 2 days he had below average, which it was. And then we had this period here for the 14th to the 18th with above average temperatures. These are not going to be incredibly above normal, but we are going to be above normal nonetheless. Our normal highs for this time of year are running generally on either side of 40 by a couple degrees north and south, depending where you are. Up north, obviously, temperatures are in the 30s, upper 30s for normal highs, and down towards Philadelphia about in the mid 40s. So that's what normal is. If we're talking about above average, it only has to get a couple degrees above that to be above average, and that's what we're thinking with high confidence. And then the period from the 19th to 22nd, we're down to below average temperature pattern. And we're going to be watching for a possible coastal system on the right around the 21st, 22nd time frame. That's going to be a week from today. We'll be talking about it this week if it's still coming to fruition. But this is still something that's going to be a week away. And then by the end of the month here, we really don't think we're going to completely flip yet. You're going to have a near average temperatures during that time frame. Might go below normal at the very end here. There's a very strong signal for that, and we'll get into that now. We're going to talk about the current pattern versus what's coming. Right now, this is what we're dealing with. We had that system that was coming up the coast to give us some snow here, or did that little retrograding thing. Well, now we got this other system here that's now exiting out of here. That's off the coast here. That's bringing the cold air with it. Of course, at the same time when we had this system in the East Coast here, right along where we had that storm, that wintry threat, the middle of the country was just baking. And we had very, very strong ridge, and it's still sitting here. And here's a trough right here that's about to exit. So some of this ridge will, as this moves east, will get clipped by this. It's not going to be these deep reds here. It's going to be like the yellows and very light oranges that'll get over here. These are heights. And the higher the heights, the promotes the ridging and the warmth. And then here's a trough out here. So this is almost like an omega block. Actually, it isn't an omega block. It looks like the Greek letter omega here, with a system here, exiting, and then this ridge up over the middle here. This is going to move over our area the next couple days. So we get to the around the 21st, a week from today. Here's what we look like here. And again, we're getting more into a split flow here. You got a southern jet going like this, northern stream digging in like this. This is a split flow pattern. Whenever you're in a split flow, you really have up and down moderations between cool and warm, and it's really not anything really super amplified. It's hard to get something very super amplified, so it's very thread the needle if you're going to get a storm. And this is our storm system here, timed just right next Sunday. So again, this is why there's a storm threat, but it's going to depend on a lot of things that are going on at this time frame. Including a 50-50 low, big high pressure sitting over top of the system here, kind of like a banana high sitting over top of the system here, and then of course our low pressure system moving along the coast here. This is the one we're going to be watching here as we get in next Sunday. We'll get into that a little bit later in this video. As we get toward the end of the month, though, as we go to the Euro ensembles are very keen on the idea that now that there's going to be a change in the pattern completely, and this is showing here. This is ideal for winter here for us. A big ridge out here over Alaska, big trough in the east here, and you're also showing some some blocking over Greenland. You got a negative EPO here, so this is a good setup for, as far as the ensembles are indicating. As we get into, this is 360 hours into the future here, so obviously this is you're going out quite a ways here. So I'm going to post something here that, and rather than recreate it, this was posted by Weather South, and this is of course the image is courtesy of Weather South. Posted on their Facebook page last night, and this kind of illustrates exactly what we're looking at here. You have he calls it an Alaskan block here. Same difference. It's a negative EPO and a positive PNA here. So this is what you want here. And he calls this the Arctic Express, which is just driving the cold air down, a big trough over the eastern United States here. So you would have some cold, that supplies your cold air. Your Arctic air is able to filter in here, and you have a Greenland block sitting here. This is your negative NAO, and this is very important when you're talking about big storm systems and potential for big storms. Now we're talking late December and into January here. This is the pattern that looks like it's going into. So somewhere around, I think the 360 hour ensembles that I showed you in the previous video, on this one here, that would put you somewhere about the 27th, 28th, 29th of December. I'm thinking that, we have the storm on the 21st here. That doesn't necessarily change the pattern. We're still going to be near normal up until the very end of the month, until you get to about the 27th, 28th, something like that. You're going to get into the sustained pattern. It's going to go right into January, and then it's a game on for winter. So again, it's going to be near normal after the 21st. So, the normal temperature for this time of year, again, or right around, by that time, will be right around upper 30s to near 40 for highs. So it's not going to be warm. I don't want to give the idea that, when people think of normal temperatures, you're not thinking temperatures in the 50s. I mean, that's not normal for this time of year. So when we're saying near normal, we're talking about upper 30s to near 40 for a high for a couple days, or within averaging that in that period for about a week or so after this storm. And then we get into the sustained cold and snowy pattern that we're looking at late December and January. So we're going to have a couple more storm threats coming up as well. Let's get into this storm in this system on the 21st now. This is from our buddy Doc, who's our analyst that does, storm analyst, I should say. I couldn't spit that out. Doc Tooch Weather, he posted this here, and this is looking at what we have for the setup here. And this is that system here on the 21st. You got a banana high sitting over the top of it, and you got a 50-50 low up here. Now we're going to have to watch what exactly happens, and with this, the key to this is going to be this 50-50 low, what's going to happen with this system here. This, like that system we had just a couple days ago, is going to be very thread the needle. So in other words, you need all the different pieces of the puzzle to come together just at the right time in order to produce a wintry threat. Now, that can happen, and it very certainly can happen, and we're going to be watching that over the next week here as we get into the next image here. This is of the models are showing here with a coastal system. This is the European model. European model is actually taking a system down here from the south, kind of like this. Takes it right over kind of South Carolina like this and over the eastern Carolinas and brings it up this way like that. Okay, so this is why it produces a snow threat northwest of I-95, and you get some pretty good snows out of it if it does take that path here. The GFS is taking something a little bit different of approach. Takes it up through the Tennessee Valley and does like a Miller B type thing. Gets it up to about right here, and then it transfers energy to an area of low pressure offshore here. But this is a Miller B setup when it's doing a transfer of energy. But Miller B setup this time of year not as beneficial to this area as far as getting big snows here. It would actually have to start transferring about here down to here, and then you could have a big storm here that would affect the interior here. But this time of year, transfer the way the GFS is showing it, it is more of an ice concern more so than snow. So a couple different solutions. And it keeps going back and forth from a southwest flow event to a coastal storm to a possible Miller B setup. There's a lot of different situations that and how this can evolve, and this is why we don't really get too keen on what's going to happen specifically this far out, because we're talking about a week away. Anything can happen in a week. I mean, we're trying to nail down this cutoff low this past week here, and we were getting within 24 hours and still making changes. It's just when you get this far out, you're looking for a storm signal, and there's definitely a storm signal right now that we're looking at right now in this time frame. Storm signals on several models and model ensembles that should be a storm along the eastern coast, in some form or another, on the 21st, which is of course next Sunday. So we'll examine that this week, and we'll stay on top of it. And one of the things we're going to be doing that with most prominently is with our My Pocket Meteorologist program. If you're not a member of this program, this is a very good program that gives you text and email alerts sent directly to you for the place you work and live, so you don't have to guess how much you're getting or what the timing is or how it's going to affect your area. Information will be sent to you, and we'll start talking about this. If this threat is still here at a couple days from now, once we get to 4 or 5 days out, we'll actually start setting out alerts already, just saying, hey, we're looking at a winter storm here, has the potential to be large, and we update it every 24 hours after that with any changes and any more, as you get further in time, more specifics as far as timing and amounts are concerned. So do look for that in this image right here below this video, and click on it. It'll take you to the payment options page for the seasonal options for My Pocket Meteorologist. You can do text or email alerts for one county or two. So you can do one for home and one for where you work, and you can also join our Facebook group, which is a private group that goes in a lot more detail about talking about the things we're looking at as meteorologists, interacting with the meteorologists in our team to talk about basically talk about what's going on with this storm or any storm throughout the entire winter. So click on the premium link for that. You can join our premium discussions and get involved with My Pocket Meteorologist. I'm Eastern PA Weather Authority meteorologist Bobby Martrich, and that is this week's edition of Weather Weeklies. We'll see you again next week.